Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Youth Public Safety Forum. The young people in the room, give yourselves a round of applause. My name is Augustus, and I will be serving as one of the moderators for tonight. To you, the young people, the greatest audience in the room, the greatest audience in Baltimore right now. I salute you for taking time out of what I know was a busy day. Most of you were probably in school earlier today. Many of you are working on homework projects. Some of you who I spoke with earlier are working on final papers as we come to the end of the school year. Tonight, the mayor, members of the police department, chief of police for the city schools are here with us tonight to hear from you. Many of you may be aware that we have hosted 5 public safety forums throughout the city in the last 2 months, and the mayor took it upon herself to prioritize one of the public safety forums being designated to young people. And so again, you should give yourselves a round of applause. For many of you may not know that this is a unique opportunity. This is the first, as I was sharing with a colleague of mine earlier, in my recollection, Madam Mayor, that the mayor, brass of the police department, fire chief, and the chief of school police are all in the same room to hear from the young people of the city of Baltimore. That is an awesome task, and it's something all of you should keep in mind and remember as we draw towards the summit. Tonight, I will introduce a dynamic young man who will be co-moderating with me tonight. He is chairperson of the Mayor's Youth Commission and a member of the City School Board. His name is Cody Dorsey. He's standing behind me, and in a moment, he will come up and give welcome. But right now, it is my astute and awesome privilege to present to you, certainly not to introduce, but to present to you the mayor of this city, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I want to thank Deputy Commissioner Dean Palmieri for being here in Commissioner Batt's stead. He is the commissioner's right hand, and I appreciate you being here and supporting what we're doing and supporting our Baltimore's young people. I also want to thank Chief Goodwin, the head of the Baltimore City Public School Police, because everything we do when it comes to young people is, particularly around the schools, is in partnership with the school police. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank my Fire Chief Ford, who is here in the back, and to the young people, anyone here who is thinking about a career in EMS or fire, please see Chief Ford. He promised me when he and that's different than just, saying he was interested in it. He promised me when he came on board as my fire chief that he wanted to fill the fire department with men and women who grew up in Baltimore City, who love Baltimore City, and who live in Baltimore City. So I want you to help him meet his goal. So if you're interested, please see him in the back. And I also want to ask all the Baltimore City Youth Commissioners who are present to stand up. Raise your hand if you are Baltimore. Stand up or raise your hand. Okay, come on, stand up. Can we give them a hand? You can have a seat. I just want you to know how proud I am of the work that you are doing representing the views and the issues and the concerns of young people. I speak to many of you. You speak to me and to my staff, and you bring to us issues that are important to young people. You do it in a way that is collaborative, and that gets us to places like this. And I'm very, again, proud of your leadership. From your chair on down, I'm very proud of what you've been able to do. So I want to try to be as brief as possible because this is about hearing from our young people. I know, unfortunately, the pain of losing a young person, and many of you know that same pain. I think that it is one of the worst tragedies that we can have when we lose a young person. When we lose someone like Michael Mayfield or Najee Smith, people that have so much promise. And my hope is that we can figure out ways that we can work better together so we can have a safer city for each and every one of you. So I'm looking for your suggestions. We all know what the problems are. So we're not going to have a dispute about what the problems are. I hope in this conversation we can talk about some solutions, some suggestions that we can work together better to provide a safer city for all of you. And I know the issue of youth violence and public safety concerning youth is not all about the police. You know, I believe very firmly that we have to do a lot to support our young people. That's why I support so heavily our after-school programs and expanding opportunities for rec centers and investing in newer, bigger rec centers so we can meet the needs, the changing needs of Baltimore's young people. I was at an event today for Youth Works. I don't know how many of you have ever participated in Youth Works. Do we have anybody in here that ever participated in Youth Works? Good. So I was at an event today to kick off the season and to make sure that all of the Baltimore City employers in the city knew about our efforts to have every Baltimore City employer hire one youth and what a difference that would make. So we talked about that. And we also put in place this year some nighttime basketball leagues that are our efforts to support and supplement what we're doing to find different ways, innovative ways to connect with young people. So I am looking forward to hearing some more great ideas from you. I think that if we are going to be a safer city, we will do it together. And again, thank you for coming out, and thank you for coming out in the spirit of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the mayor stated, in the commissioner's stead, in Commissioner Bax's stead, we have with us Deputy Commissioner Dean Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. This is an exciting moment for everybody. So, please, I'm going to be brief in my comments. I do want to extend the. I want to extend the commissioner's apologies. He's down in Washington, D.C., representing members of our agency who have lost their lives, first-year survivors. He's with their families down at the police memorial. So he does extend his apologies for not being here. This is a very important forum for the police agency. As a testament, we brought many command staff members here to hear from you all. And essentially, the mayor really, I have to thank Madam Mayor for her commitment, not only to the city, but to youth concerns as well, as it is our concerns. As a member of the police department, we're working very collectively and hard with school police and other city agencies to ensure that we have a safe summer. Right now, any incident that involves violent crime in the city, we take very personally and seriously, particularly with our youth. Any death within the city is a tragedy. And we are working diligently to ensure justice to those victims, and we're here to honor those victims tonight who have sustained death and serious injury within our city. And this is about hearing from you, your concerns, and how we can work collectively as a city agency, a police department, a fire department, school police agencies, to succeed in Baltimore. You are our future. You are our future police officers. You are our future lawyers. You are our future firefighters. And you may be a future mayor one day. So we thank you for taking time out of your schedules to share your concerns with us. We will work with you, not only in this forum, but moving forward. But before I step down and turn it over to Chief Goodwin, I'd like to introduce members of our command staff, because I really would like for you all to interact with them and know who they are. So if we can stand, please, and introduce yourself and tell me your assignment, I'd appreciate it. Darryl, we'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Colonel Darryl D'Souza, the Chief of Patrol.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Matthews. I'm Area 2 Commander, Northern, Northeast, and East.
Good evening. I'm Sean Miller, Lieutenant Colonel for Area 3. That's Western, Northwest, Southwest, and Special Enforcement.
Good evening, I'm Lieutenant Dave Green. I am the Chief of Detectives. Good evening, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Melissa Hyatt. I'm the Area 1 Commander, which is Central, Southeast, and Southern, and also I have Special Operations.
Lieutenant Colonel Melvin Russell, Chief of Community Partnership Division, and one of my slots is youth. So we love you.
Rodney Hill, Chief Internal Affairs Division.
And thank you all for coming. And just on an end note for me, as I stand here as a representative of the Baltimore Police Department in a uniform, I'm also a father of 2 daughters. So I share all your concerns, and we're looking forward to moving forward as a city. Thank you.
Next up, we have a man many of you, I'm sure, have seen on the school campus around the city, Chief Goodwin.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, thank you for having this forum because I think oftentimes the missing voice in our city is the youth of our city. As we do at the school system, we try to engage with young people as often as possible. So young people, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out. And let us hear what your concerns are and what you want to see change in the city. And those will be important in the decision-making process as we move forward. Once again, thank you, and let's have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Chief Ford, I was told that you had an announcement you needed to make, or as you make your way down, Chief Ford last week met with a young lady who stated she wanted to be a member of the EMT, and he took her information, and we hope that there are some future firefighters and MNT personnel in the room. Chief Niles Ford.
And she's in this room right now, by the way. Yes, she is. It's an honor to be here. I can tell you I've worked in several different municipalities, including in Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, Lincoln, Nebraska, and now here I can honestly say this is the first type of event that I've seen like this that I participate in. So, Mayor, I'm very proud of the fact that you took the initiative to put this together. I am, just like the mayor said, I am very passionate about bringing young people in our organization that are products of this school system. And we're working on it in every way we possibly can. And I'm even doing hands-on. It's so important to me that Thursday, I'll be in Douglas teaching anatomy and physiology to students who are fire EMT students. So it's very important to me. And you'll see doors open and opportunities coming your way. And I hope and pray that some of you all take advantage of those opportunities. And it's a pleasure. I'll be here. If you have any questions, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Chief Ford. Now it is my honor and privilege to present to you a dynamic young man. You will see a lot more of him. I've watched him grow at City Hall. His name is Cody Dorsey. Won't you put your hands together and welcome him as he comes to present greetings.
I'm Cody Dorsey. I'm the chair of the Baltimore City Youth Commission and a student commissioner for the school board. And I want to just first thank you all. It shows your commitment to youth violence prevention and public safety throughout Baltimore. Whenever I hear from young people, many of you all I know or have met in passing, I hear that we want more than a reciter of issues. And we deserve more. But yet more importantly, we want to have a voice at the table when policymakers are developing concrete ideas and solutions. It's groups like the Inner Harbor Project and Free State Academy, Girls Expecting More Success, the intersection that keeps our young people mentored and educated and involved. And I have to thank the mayor for hosting this forum because the mayor is committed to working to have a safer Baltimore with better schools. And not just better schools, but safer schools. And I have to thank the members of the Youth Commission for working with me, for dealing with me, and for really working to find issues that young people face in our communities. So we're going to hear a first question.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have a first question. Oh, we're going to give some rules? Okay, I want to get right to it, you guys. Okay, we're going to hear some rules.
So, we don't go anywhere. So, we have 2 youth commissioners who will serve as field operators. Want to raise your hand? We have one. Raise his hand. Raise it. And we have the second one. It's not Lindsay. Ronald. Okay, Ronald's in the back. I'll have Cody introduce the 2 of them. So we're going to start off with Cody introducing youth commissioners and leaders of the youth organizations who are up front. We will take the first question from there, and then we will take 2 questions from the floor. We're asking that after you ask your question, would you please take your seat so that because of the cameras that are in the room, and so that the audience can, 1, hear the response, and 2, the responder can see the person who asked the question. Is that fair?
Yes.
And we're respecting everyone's time, and we're not going to interrupt one another as we pose questions and give a response. Thank you. Cody?
All right. I know just like many of you all, I'm hot. So we want to, hurry up and get this started. To my right and to you all's left is Youth Commissioner Deshaun Basson. He represents the District 13, which is in New York and tonight. To my left and you all's right is the Mayor's Office intern, Ronald. He's going to be walking around too to help answer your all's questions. Mike. We're going to hear our first question from a member from the Youth Commission, our Treasurer, Rawlings-Blake.
So, hello everybody, first off. So one of the things that, in talking to young people in my district, which is the 9th district, is, even though the curfew law has been passed, how are the police going to, deal with the young people being in the Inner Harbor in a way that's not extremely tense and doesn't cause any more conflict between the 2 bodies, because it's already a very tense relationship?
I'll just kind of frame it, and then you can talk about particulars. For me, I grew up, so I was about 10 years old when Harbor Place opened. And I remember how excited I was. And I grew up, from that point on, going down to the harbor with my family. It was, something to do on Sunday afternoons. And then when I was in high school, when I was old enough to go out by myself, my mom would let me go with my girlfriends, and we would, go have coffee or something and people watch, and I just know how proud I was, to have the harbor, to be from Baltimore and have that as an opportunity to go and hang out. I want it to be like that for today's young people. We just have to figure out a way that we are able to have it be a place that everybody can enjoy. And maybe that's working in stronger partnership with the Inner Harbor Project, because right now there are a few young people who are making it bad for all young people. Most of the young people that come down want to do just like I did when I was younger, be able to enjoy themselves with their friends. Then when you have some young people that are down there and you get complaints from restaurants that they're knocking food off of people's plates, cursing and using foul language while people are there, spending money to enjoy themselves while people are bringing their kids, younger kids down there. They're doing things that that they might enjoy, but it prevents others from being able to enjoy it. So, for me, it's a two-way street, and my hope is the same way that I expect each and every officer to respect each and every person, regardless of their age. We need to figure out how to get that in reverse, because and and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. There are a small group of young people who don't share those values that are making it bad for everybody. Deputy Commissioner?
Yes, so we're committed to professionalism within our police department and treating people fair. The mayor touched base on a few points. The curfew centers aren't constructed in effect to punish people. It's to create safe environments. When there's children that are out unsupervised, that are 8, 9, 10 years old, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're not within their neighborhoods, they're not with a parent or guardian, that's a concern. It's a public safety concern for that individual. And we're committed to bring parents and children together to provide services. We're also committed to creating a safe environment. We all want to enjoy this city and what it has to offer. The harbor is an epicenter for our community to enjoy. The investment there, the things that are there for people to do. However, what we cannot tolerate is a public perception that it is an unsafe environment by people wreaking havoc and snatching cell phones and turning tables over and disruptive behavior that we have to correct. The police can't do it on their own. The school police can't do it on their own. We have to do it together as a community, and we have to work with our peers, within our peers, to ensure that we are creating that safe environment together for everybody to enjoy.
And also, if I can just add one thing on behalf of the police department, we're working very closely with the Inner Harbor Project. In fact, Commissioner Bass has a meeting next Wednesday with a bunch of the new members of the Inner Harbor Project, and we're very concerned with their input. Obviously, they're speaking to a lot of your peers to get feedback from some of the things that we want, and we're working on matching up some of your needs with some of the things that we need to manage in terms of public safety. But we're definitely very concerned with the feedback that we're getting from the youth departments.
All right, our next question is going to come from the young ladies from the Inner Harbor Project.
First, we're going to give a little background, but first, for those who don't know, I'm Diamond, I'm 17, and I'm a youth leader in the Inner Harbor Project. My name is Rakaya, I'm 16, and I'm a youth leader in the Inner Harbor Project as well. Our question is for the mayor. Based on our research and interactions with youth, we believe that direct violence stems from different types of structural violence embedded in our city, like lack of opportunities for youth, lack of positive outlets, and a broken education system. Baltimore is nothing like it was when I was little. There was a wreck down the street from my house, public swimming pools, we could go to the park. Now everything is private, getting closed down or being turned into something that benefits private interests in the city. Nothing in Baltimore is for teens. The only thing you've done for youth is open the curfew center year-round and work to promote attendance in schools. We need a city that is going to shape us into well-rounded adults instead of criminals. We feel that we are not welcome in the city we were born into. Even with all of this, we still have faith in Baltimore and pride in our city. With that being said, our question is, why do you tend to fund private developers instead of youth initiatives and positive outlets for youth?
So first, again, thank you for your hard work. I just would encourage you to do a little bit more research into what I've done. I think too often we fall into listening to what somebody else said and letting that define your opinion. I would ask you to look. When it comes to recreation centers, yes, I've had to close recreation centers, but I did it in consultation with the community. I had stakeholders, young people, community leaders, business leaders, take a look at the entire system of recreation centers. They graded each one based on the quality of the facility. I actually toured the centers. I saw that many of them were very underutilized, and bathrooms were without doors on the stalls. The programming wasn't anything that the young people wanted, so they didn't come. It was open. If that was enough for me, I could keep them open and be able to say to you and everybody else, yes, I kept all the recreation centers open. But I don't think that served, it certainly didn't sit well with my spirit, and I don't think it serves you. When, for the ability to placate, so I would be able to have people say that I didn't close them down, it wasn't worth it to me. I heard from the community. They said they were very clear. We want larger centers, longer hours, better programming, more staff. And in order to do that, and you know this, you can't spend the same dollar twice. So I can't keep the old decrepit ones and people aren't using open and then build for the future. Just like we're doing with schools. In order to get the $1.1 billion in school construction, it didn't happen while all of the schools stayed open. We had to right-size the school system to put ourselves in a position for that capital investment. That's what the school system did with schools. That's what I'm doing with rec centers. And we are building bigger centers. We have done groundbreakings. We have a capital plan for more recreation centers, and it will be the future. Just like we're building the schools for the future, we're building recreation centers for the future. So to suggest that there is an either or, that I tend to fund private development and not support young people, it's just, you're just repeating something that somebody else said, and it's not the truth. It's not, the facts don't bear that out. So I have a capital plan to build larger community centers all throughout the city. I have consistently invested and increased funding in after-school programs that are accountable for outcomes for young people. I'm not just giving people to programs and not asking them to prove what they're doing for our young people. Yes, I've done an attendance competition. Yes, I have curfew centers, but it's not to lock kids up. It's because there are kids out there who are in trouble, who don't have anybody out there looking out for them. When you see a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old out on the street at 1 o'clock, I believe it is our responsibility as adults to stand in the gap and figure out why is that child allowed to be there. That's what the curfew center is for. It's not punitive. It's to figure out when those parents come or those guardians come in, is to figure out what support does that person need, does that young person need, does that family need, so we can prevent this from ever happening again. Because there's no good that comes from having a young person out on the street at that time of day. So it's not an either or. When you're mayor of a city, you're mayor of the whole part. You can't focus on one part and forget about the other. Yes, I'm investing and have a plan for growing our rec centers. Yes, I'm investing in working hard to fight for funding for our schools. And yes, I'm supporting business. I'm supporting development downtown, and I'm supporting development in the community. You should not allow anybody to tell you things that are not true about me or anybody else. I suggest you do your research and to see where are the dots, where are the programs happening. And just because you see a development that's going on downtown doesn't mean that things aren't happening out in the city. I believe that I'm the mayor for all people and all parts of the city. I'm not going to pit one group against another or one neighborhood against another. I believe that we can have a thriving business community and thriving neighborhoods, and that's what my record reflects.
All right. So we're going to now have some questions from the floor. So if any young person who would like to ask a question, okay, Deshaun, we're going to go to this young lady here.
Hello. Sorry, I'm gonna look at my notes. I'm hearing this word tossed around a lot when I go to these kinds of events. Youth engagement. We're gonna engage the youth. Youth are going to be super engaged. They're gonna be double engaged. What is this youth engagement look like to you?
Is it a two-point question? Is that your full question?
There's more. I
Okay.
have many questions. I'm gonna hold it.
Okay, wait a minute, 1 second. I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. You said you had many questions. Ask the full question, hand the microphone back to Deshaun, and then we'll take another question from the floor once the mayor has responded. Okay? Thank you.
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, when youth are engaged, what does that look like? From your perspective.
Thank you. That's a fair question.
Part of what this is about is trying to get to that question. This was my suggestion. Come together. I would bring our public safety, our first responders, our public safety officials together with other members of my administration who work and support young people, and to hear from you. And if there are suggestions, and hopefully, like I said when I started, if there are suggestions for how we can do this better, that's what I would like to hear. I don't think it serves any of us for me to tell you what engagement looks like. That would work for me. It might not work for you. So this is about hearing from you, hearing from young people on what it looks like and how we can work together better.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As we prepare to take a question from the floor, Ronald, the young lady who... Yes, ma'am. Okay, we're coming right over to you. Oh, okay. And then, after the young lady here with the intersection T-shirt on, we'll come over to Mr. 30, is that a 6? 36. He had his hand up. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name's Amber, and I attended Baltimore City School, Friendship. And the situation happened at my school was though weapons were brought into the building. And my question is for you, Mr. Chief Goodwin. The issue that I think led to it was bullying, but my question is, like, how do you plan to keep weapons out of our buildings and kids more safe? And, like, I know that you came to my school before and spoke to us, and many of the things you kept saying was the staff had to do this and the staff had to do that. But my solution to the problem, I think, well, not just at my school, but at every school, is that you should, I guess, start up a program for leaders in each school, because it's not going to start with the staff, it's going to start with us as youth. Because if we're talking to the youth, then they're more likely to listen to us than just the staff.
First and foremost, every day that I rise, it's about safety in our schools. And having the responsibility of 194 buildings, it's the regimen of communicating with administrators who should be communicating with students. And at the same time, I encourage my officers to engage with young people on a daily basis to build those positive relationships. Now, with respect to what are we doing about safety, I believe, are you talking the Friendship in Canton?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, the last incident that took place, there was a safety check, but the safety check was not conducted in the form and the fashion that it should have been. I personally went to your school. I personally met with the staff. I personally explained to everyone the appropriate way and the proper way to perform a safety check for students coming in the building. And that's what we're trying to do throughout the city of Baltimore, to make sure that that staff are trained, those who can perform, because all staff cannot perform a safety check in a school. So that students will know. Teachers cannot be a part of that. It can only be administrators or support staff. School police are there to support the effort and not participate in the search.
Thank you, sir. And before we come to you, Mr. 36, the young lady who just asked the question, that was a great question, and you made a really good comment, and that is, your peers are some of the best audience for you. In other words, young people talking to young people is some of the best communication that can take place. That's one of the reasons why tonight, only those who are considered young or youth will be asking questions, because we literally want to hear from you. Yes, sir, number 36, you had your hand up, you were patient, you had a big smile on your face. Give us your name and pose your question, sir.
My name is Clemente. Will there be a place where people, where kids ride bikes, dirt bikes safely?
So first, I want to thank you for coming out this evening and spending your time with us and giving us and for giving some constructive feedback. I'll tell you that that's something that's been heavy on my heart and something that I've thought about a lot. I know that there are a lot of people in the city that enjoy riding dirt bikes. Unfortunately, just like when I was talking about the Inner Harbor, there are some that enjoy it and do it very dangerously and threaten the safety of themselves and the public. At some of the public safety forums that I've attended, some of the adults have suggested that we, again, investigate the idea of having a dirt bike park, like we have the skateboard park. I certainly think that is worth looking into. It is not, it's the challenge with the notion of a dirt bike park, and I can relate it directly to the skateboard. If you ride your skateboard to the skateboard park, you're not breaking any laws. If we created within the city limits a dirt bike park, and you rode your bike there, you would be breaking the law because they are illegal on the streets of Baltimore. The problem then becomes, if we were to create a park within the city limits, and we still had the problem of people who preferred to be daredevils and ride in the street as opposed to going to the safety of the park, anytime we stopped them, they would be on their way to the dirt bike park. So this is something that we have this issue has been bouncing around in the city for years. I can't remember a time, I started on the council in '95, I can't remember a time that this or something like this hadn't been discussed. So I do think it's worth us taking a look. I've asked members of my team to look at other jurisdictions to see how they're dealing with it, to see if if other cities have come up with a peaceful and safe solution that gives young people an opportunity to enjoy something that they love, but to do it safely.
We're going to go to the young.
Will the city give money to programs that help kids?
Definitely. So when I was talking to the young women that were up front, I talked about the fact that the city continuously invests in programs to support young people. Each year I put out a children's budget that talks about all of the resources that go from all the different agencies that go to support young people. So yes, we have, and yes, we will continue to support evidence-based programming to support our young people.
Okay, we're going to go to the young lady who's been waiting patient with the, can you say your name for me? Khadijah. We're going to go to Khadijah.
My name is Khadijah Randall. My question is, why should the parents be fined for us not going on time to our curfew? Because most of the children don't listen to their parents either way. They tell them to come in 12. They're not going to come in at 12. They want to come in when they're ready. So why should the parents have to pay a fine? It's not their fault.
So the fact of the matter is, while you're a juvenile, you're treated as a juvenile, and you get the benefit of, in many cases, if you were to do something wrong, you get the benefit of being a juvenile. The law considers you not to have the capacity to make the right decisions, right? So if you make a mistake as a juvenile, you're not, for the most part, you're not treated as an adult. So because of that, because you are not treated as an adult, there has to be an adult that's, until that time that you are an adult, there has to be an adult that's responsible for you. That is a parent's obligation until you are an adult. Their obligation is to make sure that you are fed, to make sure that you have a roof over your head, and to make sure that you go to school. And to make sure, until you, I think it's 16, right? 18, sorry. That you go to school until you're 18, and to make sure that, once the curfew, is the curfew time, that you are in your home or in the supervision of another adult. That is your parent or guardian's responsibility. Again, you might not agree with it, but as a young person, you get the benefits of being a juvenile under the law. That also comes at a price, and that price is that you're not an adult. And until you are, there is an adult that's responsible for you.
Okay. We're going to go to this young lady. What's your name? We're going to go to Brianna.
I want to direct this question to Chief Goins. So Nora and I'm Brianna again. Nora and I are students at National Academy Foundation High School, and we're peer mediation certified, which means we kind of bridge the gap between the administration and the student body to, in a way, lessen suspension. So if there was to be a verbal argument, or sometimes even a fist fight, then we would bring the students, sometimes teach the students, sometimes. So I want to know why doesn't every school in Baltimore kind of have that program in their schools? There's only about 5 schools that have the program.
Well, throughout the school district, there is the community conferencing project. What we've done in school police is to certify 6 to 8 officers to handle that type of intervention. What principals can do is facilitate that same type process throughout the City of Baltimore school system, and that's very encouraging what you're asking, and I'll certainly take that back. But what we're trying to do is get officers engaged along with students so that we can have that type of collaboration within our schools. So I'll certainly take that back because that's a very important issue to allow students to mitigate conflict resolution between students.
And if I may add, I know that that's something that Cody can take to the school board in his role as school board commissioner. And if you need help in supporting advocacy for that peer-to-peer mediation, I'm certainly willing to help you. And that way, not that you have your commissioners that have your back, but I'm certainly here. And I would say it's going to be a minute before I come back to visit y'all. Y'all got me in trouble with that dance competition.
Okay, we're going to have the gentleman from Free State Academy.
I'm Cadet Burley. I'm 17 years old. I lived in the Greenmount Avenue area. I was wondering, as the chief of police, what are your plans for cleaning up the community?
So, first off, I just want to commend you. You look very sharp. So, well played. So, and we hope to see you on our as a cadet in the police department one day. Greenmount Avenue. We've invested a lot of resources and time within Greenmount Avenue, not only from a law enforcement perspective, but as a community perspective. There's a lot of redevelopment going there. Unfortunately, we've seen some negative impacts with gangs and other issues in that community that we've been very proactive in eradicating from that area. We still need the community's help. We want to make these neighborhoods very, very successful in the future. And we often encourage the community commitment and participation with assisting law enforcement, leading us to the directions that we need to be led. We have great officers within our police department, great managers within our police department who are working to not disrupt those who are law-abiding and living in those communities, but those who are causing the issues and who the community actually fears. And that's why we really encourage the use of Metro Crime Stoppers and other tip lines where you can remain anonymous if you don't want to interact directly with police and lead us to the directions that we need to go to continue our investigations. We will continue investigations along Greenmount Avenue and with the issues that we see, and we will continue to listen to the community and their concerns to deal with the problems of that community until it's successful.
I just wanted to add one of the initiatives that we are bringing into the city this year to supplement our efforts with going after repeat violent offenders is Operation Ceasefire. And that is a community-driven approach that tells those groups of people, because I'm almost positive it was in that community last year that we took a whole group of people out through indictment. And that is that group violence concept where we identify the groups of people. Sometimes they are more formally affiliated through gangs, and sometimes it's loose affiliation, but there are groups. And the Operation Ceasefire works, again, as a community model that says to the individuals who we identify as repeat violent offenders that we're willing to work with you. If you want to change your life around, we are willing to work with you, whether it's job training, whether it's drug treatment, whatever it is that you need to get out of the game, we're willing to work with you. But if you choose to continue to cause violence, mayhem, destruction, and death in your community, we're going to come down on you and everybody in your circle. And that was even though it wasn't through ceasefire, that was that model that was used, that group enforcement model that was used in that community last year, and what we will be bringing throughout the city later on this summer.
Thank you. We're going to go to Felicia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Felicia Harris, and I'm part of the Baltimore City Youth Commission. My question to you all is, a lot of youth are questioning or have questions about the curfew center, is there going to be a time where officers or someone comes out and explain in the communities the curfew center and how it can benefit the city?
Again, another great idea from a youth commissioner. I think that that's excellent. I think we have to figure out, and I'll ask the members of my team that work directly with the youth commission. Hopefully that's something I can lean on the youth commissioners to help me organize so we can talk about it with young people. Maybe there's a possibility for us to do a tour. But my request to you is, as a commissioner, that you work with my team so we can develop that, so we can talk about what's available at the curfew center. And again, whether you call it curfew center, connection center, whatever you want to call it, for me, it is about keeping young people safe, and it's about not turning a blind eye when we see young people in need. When you have a young person that's out late at night without supervision, that is a child in need. And I don't think it benefits us in the long run to turn a blind eye and pretend that we don't see it. I think I benefited from having strong parental involvement. And when my parents weren't in my face, my family or my neighbors were. And I knew what the parameters were. These children don't have parameters. They don't have them from their family. And if they're out 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not getting it from the community. We have to figure out what support they need to keep them safe, to make sure that they're not falling through the cracks. One of my colleagues who's on the city council was talking about this. He said the same kids that we're seeing in the summer that are 6, 7, 8 years old out on the street midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, the same ones we see in the winter out on the streets without coats. Without proper clothing, without proper shoes. These are children in need. And for me, while I think a lot of young people are focused on the curfew, I'm focused on the connection part of it and figuring out how we can support those families to protect those young people.
Before I take another question, I just want to take this chance to recognize City Councilman Brandon Scott from Council District 2. Thank you very much, Councilman Scott, for joining us tonight. We're going to hear a question from, can you say your name for me? Mark. From Mark.
Yeah. I just had one question. I was charged real young with a felony, and it's hard for me to do a lot of things. Like, I called this one housing program, and they was telling me I can't get into it because I had a felony. I was the right age, but they just wouldn't let me in. Like, you say there's programs out here, but are they effective? Is it enough programs out here to help people with felonies, ex-offenders?
I don't think there's ever enough. Do we have programs? Yes. In a perfect world, we would have, enough program for every single person in need. But until we get to that place, my goal is to make sure what resources are out there you are fully aware of. So my request to the youth commissioner who is closest to you is to get your contact information, and we will make sure that you know all of the programs that are available to you as an ex-offender. We have, when it comes to employment opportunities, and we can get into the housing part later once we connect with you, but with respect to employment opportunities, the Mayor's Office of Employment Development Career Center that's located at Mondawmin Mall, are you familiar with that? So that's the one that is entirely focused. Everybody there works in support of individuals who have records, who have been previously incarcerated, and they specialize in that placement. So we'll make sure, again, we're going to get your contact information, and you just let us know what those needs are, and we will connect you with what resources are available. Okay? Thank you for coming out tonight.
So we're going to go to Glory now.
Hi, my name is Glory. So I have a friend called Harry. Harry cannot play soccer with us because he's not allowed to be outside after 5 because his parents are scared of the beating that has been happening in Northeast Baltimore. So what can we do to make sure Harry is safe and others youth from East Baltimore? See.
Can you repeat that, please?
What can we do to make sure that Harry and other kids from northeast Baltimore City are safer to go outside and play because in the past year kids like mostly like Harry is from Nepal, and the kids from Nepal have been getting beat up like almost like twice a week, and their parents are not allowed them to go outside anymore. So what can we do like to make sure?
So I understand what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, just so I have it in context. Your friend from Nepal?
Yes.
And there are concerns about being beat up in the neighborhood, and
Most of them are just.
So most of them are now moving to Pennsylvania and in the counties, and so I was like, why are they moving? They can when we can make them have a safer place to live here.
so again, this is something that we want and encourage this information so we can work on and fixing these issues and these perceptions. So we're well aware of the community that you're referencing, and I'd like to link you up either at the end of this with the area commander to that area to get some more detail and information, so we can look into some of these cases and maybe talk to Harry if he's willing to. He can do it anonymously, we can do it over the phone. But the perception that individuals are getting beat up is very unfortunate. And we are willing to work with the community to bring services to the community that can benefit the public safety and the perception there. And certainly we would like to look at the patrol over in that neighborhood and how we can make improvements to bring a sense of security to your neighborhood. So, who's there? Keith, Lieutenant Colonel Matthews, if you could stand up, please. And you could talk with him and myself afterwards. I'd like to get some more information from him. If that's okay? Thank you.
Go to this young lady, and yes.
Hi, my name is David. And my name is Sky. I go to Bliss, Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women. And I go around the way. And our question for you is, how can we communicate our ideas and suggestions to the Youth Commission?
Okay, can I answer that question? All right. So that is an amazing question. So what you and I can do is connect afterwards, and I'll get your information, and you'll get my information. I'll give you my cell phone number, and a couple of the other commissioners and I will contact you and have you come to one of our meetings, and then we can report it back to the mayor and her staff, okay? Right.
I want to add, first, thank you for coming out and for your question, but I do want to commend the youth commissioners for really stepping up. They have a heart for service and really go above and beyond. If there's an incident of violence, they show up at the school. If there's, unfortunately, a death, they're there with the family. And I really want to thank you for representing young people in Baltimore so well. So I know that the young woman from the Bliss Academy will be connected and won't be disappointed.
All right, we're going to go to this young man here. Can you say your name for me? Justice. All right.
How you doing? How you doing? My name is Justice. I go to Excel Academy. It's an alternative school up there on Saratoga Street. First, I want to thank y'all for having the forum, for letting us come here and talk and stuff. Second, I want to let everybody know that a couple of years ago, I was homeless. Me and my mom, we was homeless. I dropped out of school, ran away and stuff like that. You feel me? I never seen nobody in this room, you feel me, until now. You know what I'm saying? And people in my community, they say the same thing. Like my friends, they say the same thing. You know, my friends get in trouble, I got friends, that got felony charges, friends that can't get jobs, like he was saying over there. I just want to know, what are y'all doing for those people, like the people who are homeless, the people who don't have it for real. People who don't have parents who got good jobs, so they ain't got no curfew because they ain't got no parent. That's all I want to know.
So, Justice, first, thank you for being here and for representing a voice that often goes unheard. And if you're trying to figure out what you want to do, I think you got a voice for radio or something. Yeah. So, you know, when it comes to homeless young people, when I said that it's a voice that's often not heard, it's true. There's so many young people who are what's called couch surfing. Don't even show up in the numbers because they're homeless, but you know, they'll stay a week somewhere on somebody's sofa or floor and stay a week somewhere else. And we do have programs for those young people who are out on their own and are homeless. And I can make sure the Mayor's Office of Human Services is the best way to connect with those services. There's application process to qualify for that housing. It's limited, but that's why we have the Journey Home, our efforts to make homelessness rare and brief in the city. And one of the things I asked the committee that is working to raise money, raise awareness, and to make sure that there's seamless coordination of all of our efforts. There's so many people in the community who are working to support individuals who are experiencing homelessness, and I want to make sure they're all working together. So, you know, people like you were formerly don't fall through the cracks. I ask them to make sure that we don't forget young people as we're working to make homelessness rare and brief. So Sabrina, who's right in front of you, will make sure to connect you to the Mayor's Office of Human Services. And when she does, if there are things, you know, after you take a look at the programs that we have for young people, if you think that there are ways that we can improve that, please share. Olivia Farrow runs the Mayor's Office of Human Services, and the young woman that we just hired, Adrian, she has a long last name that starts with a B, is the executive director for the Journey Home. Please connect with them and share your ideas and your concerns so we can make sure that we address them.
And if I could add one thing, Justice, again, I want to commend you from Police Department for being here and standing up and voicing those concerns. And I think you touched on a very important topic, you know, people who that are in need of services and that are without parents are tempted to resort to other means. And some of those means are committing criminal acts. And obviously that's our goal, to prevent that and move together, working forward together. So if you have any ideas of relationships of what your experiences were and how we can help from the police department perspective, we'd be more than willing to work with you. Lieutenant Colonel Russell, who I think just stepped out, there he is. I would really like to, for us to talk with him and maybe share some of your ideas and perspectives with us as well, because those are challenges that we have to overcome. And a lot of that has to do with mentoring from our end, and just interaction, engagement, saying hi and positive things, talking about sports while police officers are out there, youth approaching police approaching youth. Sometimes there's a standoff between the two because, you know, the police don't know if they should, you know, if you're willing to talk with them and vice versa. So those are some of the challenges that we need to overcome. We recognize that. We're willing to work towards that. So thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to add to that. Justin is a part of one of the school police mentoring programs that we have at 178. So we have reached out to him. We are working with him, and he's an outstanding young man. So I want to tell you, Justin, thank you very much for telling your story.
We're going to take the question from this young lady in the white, and then the young lady from Free State Academy has been waiting patiently. We're going to go to her next, okay? One announcement.
I'm sorry, just one announcement. There are several young people who asked about the restrooms. So as a dad of 3, I know what it's like when you have to go to the restroom and you don't have anyone with you. Please take, if you're here, because we have the young people in the front, we have guardians and adults and caretakers in the back. Just find someone that can go with you. The restrooms for the young ladies are directly behind us in the back. Young men, when you leave out, they're on the left-hand side, and there are ushers in the rear that will assist you to get there. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Maya Merchant, and I attend the Stadium School. A lot of things been happening at the Stadium School, and I heard a rumor the stadium school is being shut down due to lack of attendance. And at the stadium school, it's bad students, danger around, and the students don't come because they don't feel safe. I was wondering, why isn't like a program for safety at the schools at all? It's like no program for that, and I was wondering, why is that not happening?
Okay, I just want to confirm for you that the stadium school is not closing down, and I'm going to let Chief Goodwin answer your second question.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. First of all, what we do in our school system is we try to work with administrators because, number one, I do not have enough staff to share around the entire school system, but we respond to all calls within our school system. We're working with your principal, that's Ms. Hall, correct? Yes. We're working with your principal, Ms. Hall, to change the climate at your school, and we'll certainly have an intense dialogue with her to increase, to respond to the concerns that you have about safety. And I would personally like to hear from you myself on a sidebar to tell me what else we can do, because I have some officers who are working between 3 schools right there in that neighborhood who are working with your school, Abington, and City College to make sure that those learning environments are safe. So before you leave, can you make sure you talk to me so I can dialogue with you about your concerns? Thank you.
So we're going to just hear from this young lady from Free State Academy who's been waiting patiently.
Hi, I'm Cadet Harris. My question to you is, are there any way possible that you can help Lexington Market become a more safer environment? Because there have been times where I felt like I couldn't even walk inside Lexington Market with my purse because there are a bunch of young gang members that hang around and then they'll be snatching bags.
Do you want to talk about this? Yeah.
Thank you for the question. We're doing a lot of work in Lexington Market right now. We definitely recognize the fact that there have been historically a lot of issues there. I'm not sure if you've been there lately and you've seen a lot of the foot patrol officers that we have up there, but we've been working very hard with the mayor's office and a lot of other stakeholders in the area, people in public and private sector, to work together to make the market a safer place. And there are a lot of plans for revival around the market, and I think that over the next few years, you're going to see some really great things happening there. And certainly, I invite you to go back soon and let me know if you think that things are getting any better. I'll be happy to give you my contact information. We're definitely interested in feedback. But there are a lot of things on the public safety side that we're doing there to improve, to make it a better experience for people coming in to visit.
If I can add to that, what Lieutenant Colonel Hyatt is talking about is essentially the commissioner, when he came in, implemented a strategic plan. And the plan is basically our playbook moving forward in the future for the city and as a law enforcement agency. And part of that plan was taking back public spaces for people to enjoy. And this is a strategy that we're going to implement in various areas throughout the city. Lexington Market was actually one of the first areas that we started this initiative. And again, it takes collaboration from everybody. So it's not just the police and stakeholders and businesses, but the community themselves and people who want to go there and enjoy. So if there are concerns that you see when you go back, please, we'll work on those concerns with you. And we continue to strive to make those areas better places for you to enjoy.
And I want to, with respect to Lexington Market, as with many of the things that we deal with, the public safety isn't, we can't arrest our way out of it. So when I first became mayor, knowing what a valuable asset Lexington Market was, I asked a national organization called the Urban Land Institute to bring in a panel of experts, and they brought urban planners, architects, landscape architects, people from this country and outside of the country to take a look at that larger area, including Lexington Market, and to give us suggestions on how can we revive that part of town and how can we make it better than it's ever been. And out of that recommendation came the university partnership. So we developed, I think it was probably 2011, the partnership between the University of Maryland at Baltimore, so it's all of the hospital, shock trauma, and all of the professional schools, and my administration, and we have been systematically putting in place things, whether it's, we have the increased foot patrol, but we also have social workers that are going around with the downtown partnership workers, identifying people who we know are in need of substance abuse assistance. We created an arts and entertainment district in that area called the Gromo Arts and Entertainment District, so it gives us an opportunity to use the power of artists, like it's been done in Station North and some other communities, to revitalize the community. So there's a lot of things going on. I would say don't give up on that community. That you hopefully have seen some progress, and I promise you that you will continue to see progress in the area.
We're going to go to Danya from the intersection, and then we're going to go to the young man in the white shirt from Digital.
Hey there, my name is Danya Johnson and I'm a student leader with the intersection. I think that often youth don't have a seat at the table, and I think this is one of the few times that you've had the opportunity to speak out about the things that, that concern them. Partially because of the negative perception that I feel like floats around youth, because of, the few youth who might get, the disapproving, the label that, they don't do what they're supposed to do or whatever. So I think one of the solutions that I have is maybe, and I don't know if the Youth Commission already has this, but a gun violence, not a gun violence, but like a violence task force that, I don't know, kind of assesses what it is that the youth need, or what, I don't know, just putting the youth more into the conversation of what's going on in Baltimore. Because I feel like sometimes in the conversation, when you do have youth, you get the best youth. Not the best youth, but the youth who, are prim and proper and already have polish. And you don't get the youth who really need the attention and who really need the resources and who really have the big needs. So, I just think that a big part of improving Baltimore is improving the relationship that people in politics, people in the police office, people in different districts throughout Baltimore City, improving those relationships and making sure that youth don't feel threatened when, that they have the opportunity to talk to the mayor or to police commissioners. And that conversations like this happen more often, because I don't think they happen often enough.
Danya, you said your last name is Johnson?
Yes.
So I want to thank you. I had a citation for you earlier, and I know you couldn't come for your work in helping us to spread the word about the tax credit program to help expand opportunities for our youth workers. I gave a citation to the young man who was with you, Donche, right? Yes, I can see your hand. I can't see anything else. Here you go. So I want to thank both of you publicly for that work. And I agree. We need that. It is, and I think I broached the issue a little bit earlier, saying that it's really a two-way street, and hopefully this conversation will lead to many more. I think that our young people suffer from the stereotypes that are placed on them. I think our young people suffer because you get painted with a very broad brush based on the actions of a few. I think the same is true on the other side. I think that there are lots of misconceptions and just really false information out there about the adults in your life. You wouldn't be here. I know nobody here would be here if you didn't care. Everybody here has something else they could be doing, right? So it's both ways, right? So I'm here because I want to hear from you and to figure out how we can improve the relationship. And I hope that by broaching this conversation and starting in a way that I'm hoping is open and honest, we can figure out how to continue it and maybe bring some other young people in. But I think it will be difficult I think it's hard enough for the young people who are prim and proper, like you said, to want to participate. If you think the adults in your life, the adults in leadership, if you are being led to believe that we don't care about you and that we're not willing to invest in your future, I don't know why any of you would come. So it is trying to break down that misinformation and that stereotype in both ways, because I'm not painting you all with one brush. And I hope that the young people who are here and the ones that we want to get here won't do the same thing for us, because I care very, very deeply about the young people of Baltimore. I'm a mom, you know, so we're all parents. Not Cody. As far as I'm. And, you know, and I say it when I visit the schools, you're our future. And when I visit the schools and I get to talk to students, I feel like I'm looking into the future, because you are where I was when I was listening to adults say the same thing to me. And now I'm sitting where I am. So I don't think that there's any reason why any of you who are here couldn't be sitting where I am or wherever it is that you want to be. But we have to be willing to break down the stereotypes on both sides and be willing to work together without, I guess, you know, to be fair to each other at the table and be able to sit down. So that is what I'm hoping comes out of this.
I just want to say, Donya, that was a really great question. I know that you're involved with the citywide youth network that the Youth Commission helps to facilitate. And I just want to bring some attention to an executive order that the mayor recently signed establishing the Youth Community Relations Council for each of the police districts and the citywide Youth Community Relations Council, because we really do want to hear young people and we want you all to have a voice at the table. So we're going to go to the young man from Digital who had a question from on the
Hello. Hello, my name is Noah Mayfield. I'm currently a sophomore at Digital Hub and a current Baltimore resident. And one thing I can say, I had a bad experience in Baltimore, being from here, growing up here, from seeing people get shot to having multiple homeboys die, seeing a lot of things. I never really had a positive role model in my life. And my thing is, how can we enhance the youth era and generation? How can we keep this thing living and make sure it doesn't happen for 2 or 5 years and then stop and go back to the same thing? Because that's what it has done. Baltimore was a great city at a point in time. And it was a bad city at a point in time, and it was a great city. Now it's back to the bad city. How can we change it and make it permanent and not temporary?
I think part of it is acknowledging the progress. I mean, you're saying that now it's back to being a bad city. When I was in high school, the homicide rate in Baltimore City was well over 300. I would consider that much worse than where we are now. I have friends, and you know, I was I was only popular in nerd circles. So I wasn't, you know, out there, wasn't very social. You know, I had friends at Western and from camp. But even in that circumstance, I have friends that were shot down and killed in the streets. We have come a long way. I think part of it is knowing that we're not perfect, but we've made a lot of progress, and we shouldn't own that we're a bad city when we know by any measure, we have come a significant way in reducing violence, and in particular youth violence. So I would say let's own the progress and let's commit ourselves to doing more. And this is about hearing from you. You know, we all agree. What you said is nobody's going to disagree with the fact that we need to do better. And for me, this is about doing more than identifying the problems, but coming up with solutions together. You know, we've talked about the things that we put on the table to reduce youth violence. I would love to hear more from the students with ideas that we haven't considered, things that we should look at, that we can add to the portfolio of work that we're doing to make Baltimore safer for young people.
If I can add to that, one of the things that we just mentioned earlier was the Youth Community Relations Councils within the districts. That gives you a voice, and it gives you interaction. And as the mayor stated, many of the police command here have been here for 20 plus years, and we've been here through the 90s and some through the 80s and maybe even some through the 70s. So we've seen the city change and evolve, not only the geography, but even the culture. And it boils down to faith and leadership within youth. And you don't have to be sitting in these positions or wearing uniforms to be a leader. You're a leader, you're born a leader. They don't run out. So you are a leader within yourself for even being here, based on your past experiences, and wanting to bring the city to the forefront, the communities to a forefront, is a positive step in the right direction, and we're here committed to help you. So whatever your concerns or problems are is something that we want to work forward to working for in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
So we're going to have a question from Michael.
How's everybody doing? Hello. My name is Michael Hazelton, and I'm a student from Northwestern and an intern at City Schools. And one of the things I see when I go on field trips is my peers. And a lot of the things that happen is that they bring in that negative energy from outside into the schools. How do you plan to stop the negative energy that is coming into our schools?
Well, I think one of the most important pieces, and the young lady, I believe, here talked about student participation. I think in every school, if the student council is active within the school, or the student government, I'm sorry, I graduated in 1975 from Emerson, don't get mad with me, but we call it student government. If student leaders within schools can participate with the administration to bring that voice to the table, oftentimes students will listen to their peers before they will listen to adults. And I think if we engage student voices in our schools, then that can help de-escalate that negative behavior and those negative attitudes. So I think it's very important that students go to the administration and ask the administration, can you formulate or become a part of that voice in your school so that you can help work on that positive climate which we're trying to do throughout the city of Baltimore.
Can we go to the young man from the fire department in the blue on this side? Excuse me, Police Explorers, I'm sorry.
How you doing? My name is Savon Hamilton, and I'm a member of the Baltimore City Police Department Stores. And my question is to any young teenagers that's in here that would like to join to help our young youth to stay out of trouble and stuff like that. Because me, myself, I didn't been through everything. I didn't see my father get killed in front of me and stuff. And ever since I joined the Baltimore City Police Department, it changed my life around. I've been, doing good, and people come to me, telling me, I'm doing good and stuff like that. I done had people tell me that I wasn't going to make it and stuff like that, but I'm telling them, look at me now, I'm doing good. What about you?
What was your name, young man? I'm sorry.
Savon Hamilton.
Tavon Hamilton. Savon Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton, thank you for that comment. I apologize. My first name is Gussiner, so folks mess my first name up all the time. So I apologize for messing your first name up. There have been, including the mayor, at least 3 people who have shared about their loss due to violence. I just want to break the last bit of thin ice in the room and ask by a show of hands, including myself, those of you who have lost a loved one due to violence. When you look around and see these hands, when you see people who have been impacted by what the young man Mike said, negative energy, you can put your hands down. One of the best responses to being the loved one or friend of a victim of violence is to do as Deputy Commissioner Dean Paul Merritt just mentioned. Have faith in yourself and your peer group that you will move forward in spite of. One of the reasons the mayor has this event hosted or asked that we hosted this event tonight was to give a voice to the voiceless, quote unquote. A voice to those who have been negatively impacted by violence, but yet you still get up, put on your uniform, put on your clothes, you go to school, and you face the reality of your journey to and from school each day. Give yourselves another round of applause for taking a positive step. No, we're not ending right now, but I just wanted to take that moment because at least 3 people in the last few questions stated that they have lost a loved one to violence, and I just wanted to keep those hands up. I'll turn it back over to the capable, and give him a round of applause, please, Mr. Cody Dorsey.
I'll go to this young lady from Powell, who's been waiting patiently.
Hello, my name is Donye, and I go to Pollard. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons that adolescents are out on the streets at such a late amount of time. They could be homeless or not have great home situations, which is why they're out on the streets. And as they said before, as she over there said before, it's more likely that they will listen to older peers than any other type of adult. And in these centers, there could be police officers, and they could feel more criminalized in such an environment. And so, how would you help to make them feel more comfortable, as in adding adolescents into there so they can have a positive outlook on things that could happen after they've lived the center?
So it's more than police officers. There's social workers, there's members of the school sends their workers there, their family support workers. There are people from the Department of Juvenile Service. So the police officers just bring the young people to the door. You know, they're not a major part of the process afterwards. It's identifying that it is people who work to identify the young person, identify who their responsible guardian is, and then figure out, you know, what's missing in that child's life that they are in that situation. So you're saying that sometimes young people are out there because they're homeless. That's not okay. You don't get a pass for that. We need to figure out, if you're homeless, what services can we provide? Where can we get you into housing so you're not out on the street? So, you know, the curfew, I don't expect any young person to like it, that we are, you know, expanding the enforcement of the curfew center. That's not why I did it. I'm interested if you think that we can do it better. I'm all for that. But I am not, no part of this is about making y'all like it. You won't, until you're grown, you're our responsibility. And if we see that you're out after curfew and you were in need, we are going to stand in that gap and get those resources for you.
I know that the Youth Commission wants to answer this question as well.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Kelsey Johnson. I am the PR for the Baltimore City Youth Commission. Just to answer your question, the Baltimore City Youth Commission is also partnering with the Connection Centers and will rotate and be put in participation in helping getting these kids and talking to them and being peer mentors to some of the kids that need the help and that need to reach out and have that close that gap just a little bit more, because we are a little bit closer in age. So just to answer that, we will specifically will be partnering with the Connection Centers.
Okay, this young lady from Free State Academy has been waiting patiently to ask her question.
Hi, my name is Cadet Arizona Skipwood, and my question to you is, do you have any question to the kids of the community to help make your community a better community?
Do you mean, do I have any questions for you? This is all about hearing from you. So this, from the time I stepped in the door, this is about hearing from you about how you suggest and how we can work better together to make our community safe. That's the only reason why I'm here. Maybe I didn't understand your question.
My question was like, how could we help you help us to make the community better, not just you trying to help us make the community better? I understand.
So now I understand it, and I'll just throw it again back to you. just like what has been said multiple times, that peers relate better to peers, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should do. It's just like when one of my colleagues on the council often says, you don't ask the doctor if the medicine is working, you ask the patient. That's what this is about. I'm not going to tell, I have a whole bunch of ideas, but that's not why we're here. I'm here to, those ideas were informed from the 80s. That's the last when I was sitting in your shoes. So I'm going to assume that things have changed since then. So that's why we're here, to have a conversation in this time on how you think, suggestions that you have for how we can work better together.
Well, a suggestion would be, there's a lot of kids doing a lot of bad things because there's a lot of free time on their hands. So kids like playing sports like basketball and football. So there should be programs involving sports for the young men. And girls like dancing and things like that. And there should be programs for girls like that.
I totally agree. One of the things that I just brought through Recreation Parks is Be More Night Hoops. So it's a late night basketball league for young people. We have 2 age groups, so I can try to reach different kids. So there was the 18 to 21 and the 15 to 17. So really trying to target the high school and recently graduated young people to engage them in something positive when they wanted to do something. So I think the games we just had was just the playoffs. So the playoffs for the Be More Night hoops start this Saturday, and do you know what time they're going to kick off and where? 8 o'clock at Maritime Academy and Douglas. 8 o'clock. That's when the night hoops are. And with respect to the dance, part of what I talked about earlier about the expanded programs in the recreation centers, we're looking for more of those. So I'll make sure, I don't know how many dance programs we have, but I'll certainly make sure that as we look to round out what we're offering in programs, we make sure that there are more programs for young girls as well.
You and I can connect afterwards. We're going to just have a question from Abraham from Digital Harbor.
Can I add something real quick to that? On our side as law enforcement, we are looking to start youth activities as well with our police officers. In fact, the Western District is hosting a flag football game coming up in the near future. So if anybody, you don't have to be from the west side of town to participate. We've also implemented previously some mentoring in lacrosse leagues and things of that nature. So we're looking to expand out as well, just on a volunteer basis, and we'll get that out through your community councils and introduce that into the Youth Community Relations Council.
I have a question tonight. I want to ask, how can we put Baltimore at the forefront and prevent it from becoming the next Detroit?
In what way?
Meaning, like I've heard Detroit, that there's bankrupt and there's violence everywhere and people don't feel safe anywhere. Even when there are good areas, it's still not so good. There's still muggings and still robberies and car smashing. Sure.
So I think it was 2 years ago, I engaged a financial experts. There's a financial consulting firm to come in to do an analysis of the city's budget today and project out into the future what the financial health of the city was. Why? Because I knew that we had a structural deficit and that if we didn't fix it, we could find ourselves in a place like many of the cities throughout the country who aren't as bad as Detroit that have filed for bankruptcy, but many cities have been forced by the state to have financial managers in place and other things like that because their financial house was not in order. So I asked the consultants to do a review of the city, and they did an analysis. At that time, they determined that the city had a structural deficit of $750 million. And then I engaged that same group of people and worked with my agencies and other people outside of city government to say, okay, this is the diagnosis. what is the cure? What can we do to fix it? And that is my 10-year financial plan, Change to Grow. And that is when I started implementing things like pension reform, healthcare reform. We made changes. We changed the way we acquire vehicles or fleet for the city. It's on and on and on. And you can find the plan online. And that was my effort to make sure that we don't end up like Detroit or Harrisburg or many other cities that find themselves in the place where they are they're not financially sound, because people in my position and other positions, when they saw the train coming, didn't jump out of the way. And so I'm proud to say that we have reduced the structural deficit by just about half since we implemented the plan. And we continue to do work with the 10-year financial plan to make sure that we eliminate the structural deficit and put ourselves in a position to grow. You can also go online and take a look at our Vacancy Value Initiative that deals with the blight that we have in the city, something also that Detroit faces, and it can talk about the progress that we've made there.
So we'll go to this young lady who in the white shirt. Can you say your name for me? Amber? Amber, I'm sorry. Just been waiting patiently.
Good afternoon again. My name Amber from the Baltimore intersection. And to jump back to her question, when she asked the mayor, how can you help us to make our community a better place? I feel as though like it shouldn't take for nobody to have to tell us we're the youth, we're the future. We should make the change on our own. And I think another young lady said, you said, to stop the bad vibes in school. 9 times out of 10, but for things happen in our schools, one or more individuals know. If you know about a situation that's going to happen in your school, I feel as though you should let someone know before things happen and then your school be looked at as a bad school because it happened at my school. And I just feel as though, like, to all the youth that's here, we're here because we care. And if you really care, we can step out on our own and make the community a better place. It shouldn't have to take for anybody to tell us anything because this is our future. And if we're still acting up and going to let this continue, then our younger brothers and younger sisters are going to grow up into this, and it's going to be an even worse community when we can make the change right now because we are the change of the future.
I just want to thank you for saying that. I think you had a question on this side. The young lady with the flower headband again. Okay.
I got one more question about the curses. Why do the fine have to be so high though? The same way you said that the most of the kids are out here because
we're going to save your breath. We're not going to agree on this. We are not going to agree. And I'm going into mother mode now. Until y'all are grown, we're going to have the curfew center. Y'all don't have to like it.
We're going to hear from the young man from the intersection.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, can y'all listen really quick, please? All right. My name is Tyrone Holmes, and I'm a student leader with the intersection. Before stating my suggestion for the mayor for solutions for youth public safety, first I would like to thank the parents or adults who came out today to support this forum and support the youth in the room by either bringing your youth or just being in the room with us right now. And I think that that's really crucial and important because it's either we're not, within this forum, it's either we're not talking about enough or we're leaving it out. That so far as what I'm hearing is that you guys are trying to create programs for the youth to feel more safe, but you're leaving out the adults, right? Because that's very important. I agree that that youth public safety is everybody's responsibility, especially the adults in the communities and the parents of the children. So I think that I think a suggestion would be to try to create more programs that connect youth and adults, because what's going on in communities and in Baltimore City as a whole is that there's a disconnect between generations. As you had stated, Mayor, that your ideas on youth public safety would be a lot different than ours, because you graduated a lot. All right, I was sorry. But yeah, I think that you should try to create more programs that connect adults and youth more, be it forums like this or going into the communities and doing like community poetry slams, community gardens, community picnics, like small things that to show that adults and youth can connect. That way the adults feel more connected to the youth and the youth feel more connected to the adults. That way the adults want to actually look out for the youth and want to keep them safe.
All right, Madam Mayor, it appears that because of the time, we've started to double back on folks asking more than one question. And because we want to be out of here by 8 o'clock, number 36, I see your hand. He asked a question earlier. He had a follow-up question. And I know it looks like you have a third. So just 1 second, sir. Okay, you have a comment, but just 1 second. So we're going to let number 36 be the last comment from the floor. And then I'll bring up Ms. Kelsey Johnson, who has an announcement, the PR person for the Youth Commission, who has an announcement on behalf of the Youth Commission, and another announcement from some young people who are currently detained.
And
Yes, sir.
Before we go to him, I just want to ask the youth commissioners, you see the hands that are still up, if you could connect with them and we could get their questions answered, please.
Yes, sir, your comment. And give us your name again, real strong. Okay.
But I need to give the mayor of the flyer.
Oh. Yes. How old are you, young man? How old is you? 9. And your name again? Cleve. Oh, Cleve. Okay. 9 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a hand of praise. So, Miss Kelsey Johnson, as we put our phones on silent or vibrate. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening again. I thank everyone for coming out tonight and asking questions. But I do want to thank you all for coming and participating, asking your engaging questions. But we do want to let you know that the Baltimore City Commission has started our recruitment, and we are looking for young individuals as yourself for you showing up tonight. You represent a silent that you care about the future of the city, and that you do care about the future of your peers. So if you do want to participate in being a part of the Baltimore City Commission, we are accepting applications. It is a process and an interview for that as well. Also follow our Twitter. We do pass out resources as far as going there. Our Twitter is BeMoreCityYC, and then our Instagram is BeMoreCityYC1. Our Facebook is Baltimore City Commission. Anybody that wants an application, you can also email us as well. It's BeMoreCityYC at BaltimoreCityCommission.org. And I thank you all for coming tonight.
The mayor is going to bring your phone, and she doesn't know any of this. All right, so as I stated earlier, there are some young people who sent in, Madam Mayor, some suggestions They are currently detained in Baltimore City Juvenile Justice Center. But they sent some suggestions, a few questions, all of which will be addressed, and we will put the responses in proper hands and make sure that they receive them. I now hand it over to Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, who will give us a few closing remarks, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you again. I want to thank my team, including the youth commissioners, who helped work really hard to make this happen. I want to thank each and every one of the students who have come out. We want to keep to our commitment to get you out at 8 o'clock. I know it's a school night. I have a child, so I'm not going to try to keep y'all out late. To each and every one of the parents and the guardians, I thank you. This is a public safety forum that I have dedicated for young people, but I'm going to each and every police district to have the same type of forum with adults. So I hope that if you want to have if you want to voice your concerns, suggestions, ways that we can work together, and you haven't been to one of our public safety forums, that you come out and participate in one of the public safety forums. To the young people, I'm so proud of the engagement that we've had this evening. My commitment to you is this is not the end of a conversation, it is the beginning, and I look forward to working with you because, I know that Amber says I don't need to tell you that you're the future, but I believe it in my heart, and I am committed to making Baltimore safer for each and every one of you. Thank you all.